A few months ago, I opened LinkedIn. The very first thing that hit me was a post from an old friend, glowing about his new director role and a salary that had probably doubled in just 2 years. It was his third job hop in 4 years. That night, I sat there looking at my own career. I looked at my modest 5% annual raise, and this invisible weight just started crushing my chest. I was not struggling financially. My job was not even bad. But I felt like I was being completely left behind. You see, the most terrifying thing about professional social media is not that it shows you other people succeeding. The truly terrifying part is that it makes you believe a lie. It makes you believe that if you are not constantly job hopping, constantly upgrading your title, and ruthlessly maximizing your income at every single turn, you are somehow wasting your life. Right in the middle of trying to polish my resume, my mind drifted back to a conversation I had during a business trip. I met a Japanese man named Tanaka. He had been working at the exact same company in the exact same department for 24 years. He did not have a flashy job title. He did not drive an expensive car. And he definitely did not have a perfectly curated LinkedIn profile. But the strange thing was, when we talked about money and the future, there was this absolute quiet peace in his eyes. It was a kind of calm I had never seen in any of my friends who were constantly chasing the next big promotion. That was the exact moment I started digging deeper into Shūshin Koyō, the traditional Japanese system of lifetime employment. In Western work culture, we are often taught that loyalty is a weakness. The standard advice is to switch jobs every 2 or 3 years because we are told it is the only way to force the market to pay us more. We treat our careers like a short-term transaction. I give you my time, you give me a paycheck, and the second someone offers a slightly higher bid, I walk away. But traditional Japanese philosophy does not see a job as a temporary stepping stone. Over there, a company is often treated like a community, and your work is a long-term commitment. In exchange for that deep loyalty, employees gain a profound sense of financial security. Of course, not every modern Japanese company still guarantees a job for life today, and the system definitely has its own dark sides, like the intense pressure to overwork. But the mindset beneath it, choosing slow and steady stability over stressful and short-term leaps, reveals an incredible secret about how lasting wealth is truly built. Principle 1. Shūshin Koyō and the modern income trap. The biggest problem with the job-hopping culture is not changing companies. It is what happens to your psychology after every single move. Every time you jump into a new environment, you have to prove yourself all over again. The pressure rises, the stress lingers, and to compensate for that sheer mental exhaustion, you start spending money. Take my friend Sarah, for example. She recently jumped to a new job for a 30% pay raise. But that new role came with constant business trips and intense peer pressure from colleagues wearing designer brands. Soon, she started taking cabs instead of the subway. She bought expensive lunches just to build relationships, and she even moved into a pricier apartment to reward herself. In the end, her salary went up 30%, but the actual money she managed to save was less than what she kept at her old job. The lifetime employment philosophy, Shūshin Koyō, completely dismantles this trap. When a Japanese worker knows their income will grow slowly but absolutely steadily year after year, and they never have to fear losing their job, the urge to spend money just to relieve stress or prove their worth disappears. The gap between what they earn and what they spend stays stable for decades. Their money does not spike overnight, but through compound interest and a remarkably high savings rate, they quietly build a massive amount of wealth. Psychological safety is simply the best foundation for financial discipline. However, to maintain that safety without getting painfully bored doing the exact same job forever, the Japanese rely on a second weapon, and it is all about how they define their self-worth. Principle 2. Shokunin, the craftsman spirit over a perfect resume. Western culture is deeply obsessed with moving up. If you stay in the same role for 5 years without becoming a manager, people automatically assume your career is failing. We are pushed to expand, to manage others, and to drift away from our core skills just to get a fancier title. But the Japanese have a concept called Shokunin, the craftsman spirit. A Shokunin does not care about scaling up or getting a promotion. They find profound pride in sharpening a single skill, repeating it every single day until it reaches absolute perfection. An apprentice sushi chef might spend 10 years just learning how to cook the rice properly before they are even allowed to touch the fish. When you look at your job through the lens of a shokunin, you stop seeing it as just a stepping stone to earn more money. You see it as a dedicated practice. The wealth of a shokunin does not come from jumping to a rival restaurant to demand a higher salary. It comes from making their value totally irreplaceable. When you work with absolute dedication without being distracted by the endless need to polish your LinkedIn profile, money naturally follows as a byproduct, not as an exhausting goal. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, that is easy for them because they have a supportive environment, and I do not. I cannot possibly be a patient craftsman when every single day I am constantly compared to peers who are making twice as much money as me. If that is how you feel right now, this is exactly where things get much deeper. Because the Japanese do not just have a system for working with patients, they also have a profound philosophy, specifically designed to protect your mind from the toxic envy of modern social media. Principle 3. Oubaitori, the art of blooming in your own season. One of the biggest reasons we constantly job hop and spend money impulsively is because we cannot stop looking at everyone else. We see a colleague buying a house at 28. We see an old classmate starting a company at 30. And we panic. We use our hard-earned money to buy things, simply as a way to purchase back our own confidence. In Japan, there is a beautiful ancient idiom made up of 4 characters. It is called Oubaitori. It represents 4 distinct spring flowers: the cherry blossom, the plum blossom, the peach blossom, and the apricot blossom. All 4 of these flowers are absolutely stunning, but they bloom at different times, under completely different weather conditions, and they never, ever try to bloom exactly like one another. Oubaitori is a profound reminder that you should never compare your journey to anyone else. You cannot take chapter 2 of your life and compare it to someone else's chapter 10. The moment you let go of the burning desire to race against the speed of the crowd, you immediately cut off the urge to spend money just to keep up with them. You start to realize something truly powerful. Working a normal job, earning a stable salary, investing 20% of your income into an index fund every month, and having your evenings free to spend with your family, that is also a brilliant form of success. It is just not a loud one. Shūshin Koyō teaches us that steady stability builds far better financial discipline than a life of stressful career leaps. Shokunin reminds us to find deep meaning in mastery, rather than endlessly chasing hollow job titles. And Oubaitori completely frees us from the crushing pressure to become wealthy at the exact same time as the rest of the world. On their own, each of these individual concepts might just sound like a nice way to live. But when you put them all together, they form an unbreakable shield. They protect your bank account from the impulsive, emotional spending triggered by career anxiety. And far more importantly, they protect your mind from the exhausting modern culture of always needing more. You do not necessarily have to stay in one single job for the rest of your life, like the generations before us. What you truly need right now is simply a shift in your perspective. We need to stop treating our careers like a race where the winner is whoever makes the most money the fastest. Money earned through sheer mental exhaustion only to be burned immediately on things just to relieve that stress, is never true wealth. All quiet and sustainable wealth begins in the exact same place. It starts the moment you stop looking at everyone else's path and begin patiently watering your own tree. If this video helps lift a little bit of pressure off your shoulders for work tomorrow, please subscribe to the channel. And I am really curious about one thing. Have you ever made a decision to change jobs just because of peer pressure? I would love to hear your story in the comments below.